The Ryder Cup isn't just another golf tournament. It's the only event where players who normally compete for millions in prize money play for nothing but pride and a tiny gold trophy. Did you know that this prestigious team competition began as an informal exhibition match that nobody took seriously? Or that for its first 50 years, the American team dominated so thoroughly that the event nearly died from a lack of competition? In this video, I'll break down the complete history of the Ryder Cup, from its humble beginnings to becoming golf's most intense and passionate spectacle. These aren't just golf matches, they're national rivalries, personal vendettas, and career-defining moments that have created both heroes and villains. And the most surprising part? Some of the greatest individual players in golf history have terrible Ryder Cup records, while others who never won a major championship transformed into unstoppable forces when representing their country. The origins. 1927 to 1959. The Ryder Cup began in 1927, but its roots trace back to an informal match in 1921 at Gleneagles in Scotland. A team of American professionals in Britain for the Open Championship played against a British team before the major. Contrary to what many believe, the British actually won this initial encounter. A more formal precursor occurred in 1926, when an American team defeated the British on English soil, establishing the competitive framework that would become the official Ryder Cup. The official Ryder Cup was established when English seed merchant and golf enthusiast Samuel Ryder donated a small gold trophy that cost just £250. Ryder, a successful businessman who took up golf at age 50, became passionate about the game and wanted to create a meaningful competition between American and British professionals. The first official Ryder Cup was played in 1927 at Worcester Country Club in Massachusetts. The American team, led by Walter Hagen, defeated the British team 9.5 to 2.5. This established a pattern of American dominance that would continue for decades. During this early period, the competition was held every 2 years, alternating between venues in the United States and Great Britain. However, the matches were suspended from 1939 to 1945 due to World War II. When play resumed in 1947, American dominance became even more pronounced. From 1947 to 1959, the U.S. won every contest, often by lopsided margins. The 1947 match at Portland Golf Club saw the Americans win 11-1, while the 1949 contest at Ganton Golf Club ended 7-5, the closest result of this era. What many don't realize is how informal these early matches were. Players often socialized together extensively, and the competitive atmosphere was gentlemanly rather than intense. The American team typically consisted of the biggest names in golf, while the British team struggled not only with financial constraints of transatlantic travel, but also with fewer global playing opportunities and less institutional support for professional golf in Britain. British pros typically worked as club professionals with limited time to practice and compete, while Americans were already establishing the touring professional model that dominates today. By the late 1950s, the one-sided nature of the competition threatened its very existence. With the Americans winning easily each time, interest was waning, and there were discussions about discontinuing the event altogether. The transition years, 1961 to 1977. The early 1960s saw the continuation of American dominance, but with signs that the competition might eventually become more balanced. The 1961 Ryder Cup at Royal Lytham and St. Anne's. Anne's ended in a 14.5 to 9.5 American victory, but the British team showed improvement. A significant change came in 1973 when players from Ireland became eligible to join what had previously been a Great Britain-only team. While this expanded the talent pool, it didn't immediately change the competitive balance. The Americans continued their winning streak throughout the 1970s. The 1969 Ryder Cup at Royal Birkdale marked a turning point in the competition's intensity. The match ended in a 16-16 tie when Jack Nicklaus conceded a short putt to Tony Jacklin on the final hole, a moment of sportsmanship known as the concession. This gesture was controversial among some of Nicklaus's teammates, who would have preferred to win outright, but it established a new spirit of competitive respect. Despite this famous tie, American dominance resumed in the early 1970s. The U.S. won 1913 and 1971, 1913 again in 1972, 1973, and 2111 in 1975. By 1977, when the Americans won 12.5 to 7.5 at Royal Lytham and St. Anne's, and it was clear that a more fundamental change was needed to make the competition viable. The most significant development during this period wasn't on the course but in discussions about the future format. Jack Nicklaus, recognizing that the one-sided nature of the competition threatened its existence, suggested expanding the British team to include all European players. This proposal would dramatically alter the Ryder Cup's competitive balance and set the stage for its modern era. The European Revolution, 1979 to 1993. In 1979, the Ryder Cup underwent its most significant transformation when the British team was expanded to include all of continental Europe. This change, largely advocated by Jack Nicklaus, allowed players like Seve Ballesteros and Bernard Langer to join the team, immediately strengthening the European side. The Americans won the first contest under the new format in 1979 at the Greenbrier, 1711, and again in 1981 at Walton Heath, 18.5 to 9.5. However, these victories masked the fundamental shift that was occurring in the competitive balance. The 1983 Ryder Cup at PGA National marked the beginning of a new era. The European team, led by Tony Jacklin as captain and Seve Ballesteros as its emotional leader, nearly won on American soil, losing by just a single point, 14.5 to 13.5. This close contest signaled that the competition had finally become genuinely competitive. The breakthrough came in 1985 at the Belfry in England, when Europe won 16.5 to 11.5, their first victory since 1957. 2 years later, Europe achieved what had previously seemed impossible, winning on American soil for the first time in Ryder Cup history. Their 15-13 victory at Muirfield Village, Jack Nicklaus's home course, completed the transformation of the Ryder Cup into golf's most compelling team event. If you're enjoying this breakdown of Ryder Cup history, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now. I'm constantly diving into the stories and rivalries that make golf such a fascinating sport beyond just the weekly stroke play tournaments. Drop a comment below telling me your favorite Ryder Cup moment of all time, and I'll share some behind-the-scenes details about what was really happening in the team rooms during these historic matches. Now, let's continue our journey through the evolution of golf's most intense team competition. The 1991 Ryder Cup at Kiowa Island, dubbed the War on the Shore, marked a significant escalation in the competition's intensity. The American team, captained by Dave Stockton, adopted a more aggressive, nationalistic approach, with players and fans creating an atmosphere unlike anything previously seen in golf. The contest came down to the final match between Bernhard Langer and Hale Irwin. Langer faced a 6-foot putt on the 18th hole that would have retained the cup for Europe, but it slid by the hole, giving the Americans a 14.5 to 13.5 victory. The image of Langer's agonized expression became one of the Ryder Cup's most iconic moments. The 1993 Ryder Cup at the Belfry saw the Americans retain the cup with a 15-13 victory, the last American win for nearly a decade. Tom Watson captained the U.S. team in what would be the final Ryder Cup before a period of European dominance that would transform the competition's historical balance. European dominance, 1995 to 2006. Beginning in 1995, Europe entered an unprecedented period of success, winning 5 of 6 Ryder Cups and establishing themselves as the dominant force in the competition. The 1995 contest at Oak Hill saw Europe win 14.5 to 13.5 under Bernard Gallacher's captaincy, with Philip Walton securing the decisive point. The 1997 Ryder Cup at Valderrama in Spain was particularly significant as the first held in continental Europe. Seve Ballesteros, Europe's emotional leader as a player, served as captain and led his team to a 14.5 to 13.5 victory. His leadership as captain proved as pivotal as his playing career had been, with Ballesteros seemingly omnipresent on the course, driving from match to match in a golf cart to provide tactical advice and emotional support to his players. His course setup decisions, which some American players criticized as unfair, showed his strategic understanding of how to maximize European advantages. The 1999 Ryder Cup at Brookline produced perhaps the most controversial moment in the event's history. The American team, trailing 10-6 entering Sunday's singles matches, staged a remarkable comeback to win 14.5 to 13.5. However, the victory was marred by premature celebrations on the 17th green when Justin Leonard holed a long putt against Jose Maria Olazabal, who still had a putt to have the hole. American players, wives, and officials rushed the green before Olazabal could putt, a breach of etiquette that created lasting tensions. Europe responded by winning the next three Ryder Cups, 15.5 to 12.5 at the Belfry in 2002, 18.5 to 9.5 at Oakland Hills in 2004, their largest margin of victory on American soil, and 18.5 to 9.5 again at the K Club in 2006. This period of European dominance fundamentally altered the historical balance of the competition, with Europe winning 8 of 10 Ryder Cups between 1995 and 2014. The modern era, 2008 to present. The 2008 Ryder Cup at Valhalla saw the Americans, captained by Paul Azinger, implement a pod system that grouped players with compatible personalities and games. This approach helped the U.S. win 16.5 to 11.5, breaking a streak of 3 consecutive European victories. Europe reclaimed the cup in 2010 at Celtic Manor with a 14.5 to 13.5 victory in a weather-affected match that required a Monday finish. The 2012 contest at Medina produced what became known as the Miracle at Medina, when Europe, trailing 10-6 entering Sunday's singles, staged an incredible comeback to win 14.5 to 13.5, matching the American comeback from 1999. The 2014 Ryder Cup at Gleneagles saw another comfortable European victory, 16.5 to 11.5, leading to significant soul-searching within American golf. The PGA of America established a Ryder Cup task force to address the U.S. team's struggles and create a more cohesive, long-term approach to the competition. The 2016 Ryder Cup at Hazeltine marked a turning point for the American team. Under Davis Love III's captaincy, the U.S. won convincingly 17 to 11, implementing many of the task force's recommendations, including a more structured team selection process and greater continuity in leadership. Europe responded in 2018 at Le Golf National near Paris with a dominant 17.5 to 10.5 victory, leveraging their familiarity with the course and its setup to neutralize America's power advantage. The 2021 Ryder Cup, delayed 1 year due to the COVID-19 pandemic, at Whistling Straits, saw the Americans field their strongest team in history with 9 of the world's top 11 players. The result was a record-setting 19-9 American victory, the largest winning margin in the modern era. The 2023 Ryder Cup at Marco Simone Golf Club in Italy saw Europe reclaim the cup with a 16.5 to 11.5 victory, continuing the pattern of home teams holding a significant advantage in the modern era. The greatest Ryder Cup players. The Ryder Cup has produced specialists who excel in this unique team format, often outperforming their individual achievements in major championships. For Europe, no player embodies this spirit more than Ian Poulter, nicknamed the Postman, because he always delivers. Despite never winning a major championship, Poulter has compiled a remarkable 15-8-2 Ryder Cup record, including a perfect 5-0-1 in singles matches. Seve Ballesteros stands as perhaps the most influential figure in Ryder Cup history. His fiery competitiveness transformed the European team's mentality from grateful participants to determined winners. Ballesteros compiled a 2012 5 record and formed an almost unbeatable partnership with José María Olazabal, known as the Spanish Armada, which went 11-2-2 together. Beyond his playing record, his captaincy in 1997 proved equally important to European success, establishing a template for future European captains that emphasized team unity, strategic course setup, and emotional leadership. For the American team, Billy Casper holds the record for most points won with 23.5, while Arnold Palmer played in 6 Ryder Cups without ever being on a losing team. In the modern era, Patrick Reed earned the nickname Captain America for his passionate performances, though his 3-0 singles record contrasts with more mixed results in team formats. Interestingly, some of golf's greatest individual players have struggled in the Ryder Cup. Tiger Woods, despite his 15 major championships, has a losing 13-21-3 overall record, though his singles record is a more respectable 4-2-2. Phil Mickelson has played in a record 12 Ryder Cups but compiled an 18-22-7 record, highlighting how team competition requires different skills than individual stroke play. The Ryder Cup's evolution from a friendly exhibition to golf's most intense team competition reflects broader changes in the sport and its global reach. What began as an American-dominated contest has become a genuinely balanced rivalry, with Europe winning 11 of the 20 contests since continental European players became eligible in 1979, compared to 9 American victories and 1 tie. The competition's unique format, with no prize money and team play replacing the individual focus of most professional golf, creates pressure and emotions rarely seen in the sport. Players who remain calm while competing for millions of dollars often find themselves overwhelmed when representing their country or continent. As the Ryder Cup approaches its centennial, it has firmly established itself as one of golf's most compelling spectacles. The pendulum of dominance has swung from America to Europe and back again, creating a rich history of memorable moments, unlikely heroes, and occasionally controversial incidents that transcend the sport itself. If you enjoyed this journey through Ryder Cup history, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm constantly diving into the stories and rivalries that make golf such a fascinating sport beyond just the weekly stroke play tournaments. Drop a comment below telling me your favorite Ryder Cup moment of all time, and I'll see you in the next video.